Hello and welcome back to the Impossible Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm architect Anna and I'm an entrepreneur on a mission to do the impossible. And in this episode, I'm going to be talking about demoing an agentic browser for the first time. So I've been doing AI training pretty consistently for well over 18 months now. And I do a lot of different demos, mostly generative AI demos, but I have started doing more agentic AI work. And not necessarily fully, I'd say AI agents, because the benchmark for what an AI agent is continues to keep changing, but you can classify a lot of things as agentic nowadays. And when we talk about agentic, we're going to be talking about an AI that can take autonomous action and do multiple steps on its own. If it gets stuck, it will work its way around it. If it hits a roadblock, it will try and find a way to problem solve and figure out the solution from another way. So when we're talking about an agentic system, it's something that can take autonomous multi-step action on its own, which is pretty cool. And you would classify a lot of different things as that. But also, if you are a business owner or executive, just beware there's a lot of companies that say they have AI agents, that say they're agentic, and really they're not really anyways. And I've already talked about, like, in a previous episode, if you are going to be using an AI agent, like what steps you should take, but I will talk a little bit more about that today. So yes, I've worked with a few different training companies, AI training companies. Like the way that I work as an entrepreneur is I have clients. So I've got my direct clients in my business that I work with, that I do, AI coaching, AI strategy, sort of like helping with not necessarily deployment, but decision making. Yes, AI training, but then I also have clients that I work and deliver for their clients. So I work with other training companies and also other AI training companies because they need a solid AI trainer, which is me. So I go in. It means that I get way more experience, lots of diverse audiences, industries, which is why and how I've trained nearly 6,000 people now, because they're not all from like my company directly. Like a lot of them are through these other partnerships. So I started a new partnership, I'd say like end of April, and I first delivered for them at the beginning of May. And this was only like a month after my reconstructive knee surgery. So luckily I was delivering everything online from home and no one could see from here down that I was injured or that if I had stood up, I would have needed crutches. So that worked quite well to be able to deliver online. Again, depends. So when they gave me the brief of what I was going to do, one of the things was demoing an like agentic browser or doing like explaining AI agents. And for me, and this is crazy, the thing about AI is if you don't keep up with things for like, I'd say 3 months or 6 months, you could almost become obsolete. It's crazy. And a lot of agentic things and features and tools, like, yes, they were before 2026, but a lot of the big boom of what was publicly available was kind of like end of January, February 2026. So it wasn't that long, and I already felt like miles behind. So I needed to rapidly upskill and start testing things and learn as much as I could as quickly as possible. And so, yeah, one of them was just all this. And like AI agents was always something I was nervous about. Like I was nervous to work with them because of like their potential like security issues and like the lack of transparency. Because sometimes when you're working with an agent, they'll do multiple different things and you don't necessarily like see exactly what they're doing. So you don't have that visibility. So I had always kind of stayed away from it. And also when you're working with AI agents, the way that they do best is actually if you give them access to a lot of different things. So when I was talking about the brain episode, like building your AI brain, I did talk about this. But yeah, you need to connect them to things, and then they need to know the skill sets with working with those particular tools, and also like the knowledge, your knowledge base behind it, ideally. But yeah, if you're going to be working with an AI agent and you connect that AI agent to an AI brain, that's great. But you wouldn't just connect it to a brain, you might also connect it to multiple other tools. So you could connect it to your email, calendar, transcription tools, CRM system, any of those things, lots and lots of things. And that was always something I was really nervous about, and I had to get over it. Because also, for me in my business, I'm not holding a lot of private data. I am a solo entrepreneur. My risk level's actually pretty low. I'm not in like okay, I'm not in a regulated industry. I mean, AI has regulations that are coming out, that have come out, but they're not enforced. It's not like medical or financial. So yeah, I'd say like, I guess I'm in a somewhat an unregulated industry, which means I also have the freedom to be able to test these things and try these things so that other people don't have to take those risks because I can see what's working and what isn't. So the agentic browser that I was going to demo was Claude's agentic browser, which is just, it's Claude in Chrome, but I used it on Edge, works in Chrome, probably works on other browsers as well. And yeah, if you open it, it's like an extension. So you open it and then you have a tab in there. You can have multiple tabs, but it will supposedly only look at what is in those tabs. So like only the tabs that you've given access to. So what I did was I was like, what's a safe way to test this? I was like, let's do something funny, I guess. So I opened a tab of Spotify. And the test that I did was having the agentic browser like research what are the best non-technical beginner AI agent podcasts. So like what are some cool podcasts about AI agents for non-technical beginners in AI? And I was like, cool, go research. And one of the things that you want to do when you're working with AI agents is, especially when you get started, is you want them to ask for approval before acting. So in the Claude version, it's ask before acting. Some of them it's called like manual or not. So just check what it's set on. It should be by default set on ask. So that is good. When you're first getting started, you want to make sure that you give that approval. Otherwise, it's going to be even less transparent what it's doing. So it will ask when it needs permission. So in this case, it will make a plan of what it's going to do, and then you approve the plan, and then it will go forth and do the plan. That kind of thing on the agentic browser. So I did another test, which was like find the best restaurant in my city. It didn't know what city I was in. So if I had just let it go off, it would have done it in San Francisco for some reason, not London. So again, I made changes to the plan before it went ahead. So you want to like make sure you review what it is suggesting before it goes and does it so that you are doing things efficiently as possible. So the cool thing about the agentic browser and like a lot of AI, like they will go off and do things, but you don't really have visibility on it. And when you're using an agentic browser, you can actually watch the mouse move around. Like it will type things in and it doesn't type it like letter by letter. It'll just text will appear. And so you can see like, okay, it's typing there. It's looking here. Sometimes it will open another tab. It'll be like, okay, can't find it here. I need to look elsewhere. And sometimes it gets stuck and it messes up and that's okay. It happens. But in this case, it was able to like go on Spotify, look up these different things. I could see it on the side panel where I was like, the chat window is. I could see it like what its thought process was. It was like, okay, taking a screenshot, logging this. Now I'm looking here. And so when I like was demoing it, this was when I was testing it. I was like, okay, everyone, hands up. I was like, okay, hands are up. I like to add a little theatrical bit. I was like, look, I'm not touching my mouse. It's moving. So for me, I don't normally get like with AI very often, but I think the first time I saw the mouse moving around, it was very much like being on a call with tech support and them taking control of your computer. And you're like, they've got control of my computer. But I was like, it's cool, but also kind of crazy. So when you're talking about AI agents, like it's good to have a healthy amount of skepticism. I think that is important. But yeah, you can see like, okay, that's kind of cool. But then also I can see why it's maybe a little bit risky because it's sort of taking control of this browser. So if you're using like Claude Cowork or another agentic support tool, it could be that like you let them take control of your computer, which I've done once just to test it out. And I was like, oh, I'm nervous. I'm nervous. But otherwise, I've given them access to like folders on my desktop, specific folders that I've also backed up in advance, given them access to different tools. And then I've asked lots of questions about like what they were doing and if they could clarify things so I could get more visibility on it. But yeah, there's lots of ways to use these things, but make sure they're going to ask for approval, definitely, and then review their actions before and after they take them. So you have more visibility and understanding rather than just like offloading your cognitive abilities and also decision-making abilities to an AI without any understanding. I think the understanding is key to have proper critical thinking and judgment. So with the agentic browser, that was like a very safe, chill example. Okay, it's looking at a public platform. But if you actually wanted to use that like really effectively, there are much, much better ways, but also they do carry risk. So sometimes in my executive trainings, they'll be like, ooh, how do I do this? Like, what do I need to do to make this thing happen? I'm like, okay, well, I can tell you like a really, really short, fast way that might not work for you and your company because it's a little bit more risky, or I could explain the like longer, slower way that will also be effective. And they're like, well, what's the fast way? I'm like, okay, well, in an agentic browser like Claude, there is a little button that's like teach mode. It's like teach Claude. And what you would do is you would enable your microphone and it would watch what you are doing on your screen as well as you speaking and explaining the process. So if you were, I don't know, sending out an invoice and you first needed to like check a spreadsheet, cross-check that with your CRM, double-check the email, whatever, and then have the template fill the details, that kind of thing. You would show the whole process and you would talk through step by step. Like, okay, I need to go into this spreadsheet. It's labeled this. I go into this tab, and then I go here, here, here. I then need to just double-check the information against the email order, whatever, and then cool. And what that would mean is that the AI would then be able to do that task almost immediately because it would have both watched you and listened to what you were doing. If you were to do that the slower way, yes, you could build out an AI assistant, which would be like custom GPT, a Claude project, a Gemini Gem, a Copilot agent, and you could absolutely build out an AI assistant to do that for you, which then, yes, you'd have a little bit more control, but it would take longer. One of the ways that I would suggest if you're going to do it that way is take out your phone, go into your voice recorder and do the same thing, like talk through step by step by step. And if you can also include screenshots, cool. And then basically give that to an AI to then map it into your instructions for your custom instructions for your AI assistant. But again, like I said, slower, longer versus really fast. So if you're using an agentic browser, you could train it to do a lot of things very quickly, which is cool. And also when you're thinking about agents, you want to give them lots of helpful skills that are tailored to you and your business and your work. And that would be a way to give it a skill. So that might be like invoice skill or email management skill. But then again, it's like, how much control do you want to relinquish? It's a question for each of you. So demoing the agentic browser was really cool, but it was a couple months later. I'd already demoed it, like done this demo 3 times, live to like 100, 150 people. And I was working on something else with another AI agent, and I was working on a marketing strategy. And then I figured out like a really, really cool use case for an agentic browser. And like, this is something that needs to stay between you and me because I actually really want to use this and I don't want too many people to know about it because then it might destroy it. It's kind of like if you know a really good food place and then it becomes popular and then you're like, oh man, I can't get food there anymore. Okay, so listen in. So I was doing, research about like, okay, Meta ads, Google ads, how to drive traffic, where to get leads, yada, 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 what AI systems are the best. And unfortunately, still, the best way to get high quality leads, and I know this is annoying, is to comment on 10 to 15 high value posts a day on LinkedIn. That takes so long. It's so draining. So for me, anytime I find a task that I really don't like or I find very energy draining, I will try to figure out a way to use AI to do it if it can do it like as good. So I was strategizing with Claude Fable when I had access, and we were like, I was having it pressure test all my marketing plans, all my offers, and that was one of the things that came up. And I was like, okay, well, how can I make this happen? Because I really don't want to do this every day. And I feel like it's unrealistic for me to actually like spend time scrolling through LinkedIn to try to find these high value posts every day. Because also the posts need to be like posted within the last 24 hours. And then you need to add some sort of value to the comment. And then when people see your valuable comment, they go and look at your profile. And that is the way that works, which, so slow. And I don't want to spend that much time. Like I could scroll for like an hour and still maybe not find like 10 good posts. So this is also like the posts that are going to be attracting your target audience, not the people in your feed necessarily. So I was having this strategy session with Fable and we figured out Fable figured out that actually, well, LinkedIn has a lot of guardrails around using AI to do things. Like it can mess up your account. And actually what you could do is use an agentic browser like the Claude browser and have it look for the posts for you every morning and then find them. So I took it a step further and I have this as like a scheduled action that I'm going to try to make a 90-day non-negotiable Monday to Friday. We'll see. I want to test it out. I'm going to test it out in the next week now that I'm back from holiday. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, so a 90-day non-negotiable, and because it like apparently like you won't see any results for at least 90 days of doing this, so you need to do it like consistently for several months. And I was like, well, great. It's kind of like content creation, isn't it? But just like commenting. So one of the things I do with my content is I record these podcasts on Riverside, and then I have them cut into little shorts on Opus, and I do a little bit of tweaking, good, but then I schedule them and it auto drafts the descriptions for each of the different platforms that are slightly tailored to each one. But one that it will never get well is LinkedIn. So I actually have like both a Claude project and a Claude skill in the same chat that I put I copy those LinkedIn descriptions into, and then I have it rewrite them in my tone of voice, and it has access to like my knowledge files so that it sounds much more like me, and it requires a lot less tweaking. And then it means that I can, post something with only like 5 minutes of effort rather than maybe like 30 minutes. So that's awesome. So what that means is that I already have a Claude skill that is fully trained on my tone of voice, my style of writing, my knowledge, and I can connect that to the agentic browser. So the agentic browser, and again, like I still need to test this, so like bear with me. But also, if you test it as well, keep it a secret. It's between you and me. Because it's good. Since it's a browser and it's just looking, it shouldn't have any issues with LinkedIn. Like, I don't know, LinkedIn's not blocking something like this yet. So that's good. But I'm worried if too many people know about it, they will. So we'll see. Anyways, so what it will do is every morning it will look for the top 10 most valuable posts posted in the last 24 hours that are like the ideal posts for my target audience, which is business leaders and executives, entrepreneurs, that kind of thing. And what it will then do is draft a little comment, because it will be able to use my LinkedIn style of description writing. And then it will give me, rather than it autonomously doing it, it will then give me each post, the link to the post, the draft of the comment, like a brief description about what the post is about. And then I can go through review and then copy them in and tweak any of the comments to be a little bit more valuable. But this should be ideally like a 15-minute process. Fingers crossed, maybe a 20-minute process, 10 to 20 minutes. Okay. And then that would mean that every day I can still contribute. I can add a lot of value in a way that like I would not have the capacity to do before. And I know people find it annoying, like, oh, you're using AI for this, and this. It's like, okay, but if I didn't, I literally in this case would not do it at all. So at least this way, I might be able to share my expertise and my value with a lot of other people in a much wider audience that is also, yes, hopefully bringing in leads to my business in a way that is most suitable, and also organic, which means you don't have to spend a bunch of money with ads, because the ad spend is also going up. So if you are looking at organic strategies as well, this might be a good option. So that's actually like a fantastic agentic browser use case. The Spotify one, like the researching restaurants one, those are like cool and fun for demo purposes, but like not a lot of value. The teach mode, super valuable if you feel comfortable with like any potential risk there. But again, like think about what might be good for you. And this process won't run unless I have Claude Cowork open, by the way. Like it needs to be open. It's not something that will run on its own each morning. I need to open Claude Cowork, then it will run. It will be like, do you want to run it? And I'll be like, yeah, run it. It will open, and then I will be able to go through this process. It will do the research. It will find them, and I'll be like, great, beep, beep, beep. And that's that. That's pretty awesome. So yeah, it's between you and me. It's a secret. I might not even like clip this bit onto social media just so that it stays only in the long form podcast episode for you golden nuggets. Okay. But yeah, like I said, if you fall behind with things with AI, in just a few months, you can become obsolete. And I think agentic AI is definitely one of those things, because I hear about it a lot, even from people who that's the last thing that they should be looking at. They are like, oh, I heard about it. I want to know about it. At least I can now talk about it. I've trained it for several months. I've done a bunch of tests myself. I've built a lot of cool things. I'm delivering stuff. So it's great. But again, it's a little bit of an uncomfortable process, whether you are the teacher or the learner, to upskill quickly. So just be kind to yourself and know that like you are doing your best. And some of this stuff is a little bit complex and is a little bit scary. And that's okay. Recognize that. Make sure you have critical thinking. Make sure you review the results and you try to ask questions so that you understand the process, that it has a little bit more transparency in what it's doing, and go from there. And then start building things, learning more, incorporating skills, adding in other tools that you feel more comfortable with. I'd still say don't connect it to any type of bank account. Don't do it. Just don't bother right now. Don't bother. I don't even have it connected to my email yet, but I probably will have to like bite the bullet on that one in the next month to get like optimal efficiency, because you can do some really cool things once you connect it to your email and calendar and stuff. So I will have to do that, but I'm kind of holding off on that one, even though like, again, I'm in a somewhat unregulated industry and I don't hold a lot of private information. Oh yeah, one of the other things when I mentioned like falling behind is I had a sort of like upskilling training call. It was just like a one-to-one, one-off. They were like, "Yo, I need a quick session on ChatGPT and Claude. I need an hour. Can we please do this?" And I was like, "Sure, let's do this." And then like 3 hours before the session, I refreshed my ChatGPT and I realized that it had just done a massive update. And I was like, oh my God, what? What? This is what? And I was like, everything's moved. Agent mode's gone. They now have a desktop version. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I was like cramming. I was watching YouTube videos that had come out within like a couple hours ago, and I was watching them on like 2x speed. And then I was cross checking my browser and I was like looking at the desktop and I was like, okay. And then I had Claude create a diagram of all the different changes and the overlap and what they're called between the different platforms. And I was like, I think it would have been forgivable on that call, but because they wanted like to upskill in ChatGPT and Claude, and it just happened to like update that day, I did do my best to give the most up-to-date information. But again, when you're in a field like AI, things move quickly and you need to stay on top of things. So lead with curiosity instead of from a place of fear. Just like try something and try to do it with again, if you're actually going to be try it with a low risk use case and you will be fine. But I thought that was funny. Just that it updated and then I was like, oh, panic. But yeah, these things happen. So you can't get too comfortable being like, cool, this is my platform. These are all the things I know. These are all the features. Here are my demos. Here are my use cases. Ta-da. Because things change every like week or two or every like 6 weeks, massive changes. So gotta stay on top of things. Okay, cool. So yeah, this was a little bit of a story about demoing an agentic browser for the first time, doing more things with AI agents, a secret good use case that you guys can use for organic lead generation. And in the next episode, I feel like this leads on from it. We're going to be talking about designing a self-evolving AI organization. And I did mention this in the AI Brain episode, just like very briefly, but I'm going to talk about the AI organization that I've designed for my future, and I phased it out, like what's coming first, what's coming second, third, fourth, what phases are happening, how it's going to grow, what are the like workflows, what are the checks and balances. Yeah. So it's pretty cool and I'm very excited about it. So I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.